Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Chaffee. Weather in 5 days, in 5 minutes. The last full day of summer, and Saturday was an almost perfect day, other than a few patchy high clouds that might have rolled through from time to time. It was mostly sunny otherwise. Temperatures were warm. The humidity was reasonable. And I think we're getting a repeat performance of this today. Before we even get the weather underway, let me just tell you, if you have the free weather app, download the updates on your iPhone or on Android. The app has been updated. We've been waiting for the iPhone update to be put through. It was finally put through yesterday. So you need to update your app. It's absolutely free. Your location will now default to your location when you go to the current conditions and local forecasts. You won't have to put anything in. And there's a Long Island tab for those of you on Long Island to have something specific written especially for you. So just bear in mind those changes. Download the updated version of the app for both the Android and for the iPhone. And by the way, the app is free, and you can download it on Google Play or on the App Store. Just search Meteorologist Joe Chaffee or just plain old Joe Chaffee, and I'm going to have a link attached to this video post on Facebook so that you can do that with ease. All right, so here we go. It's pretty straightforward here. You look on the satellite loop. There really isn't too much happening. There's some high cloudiness that's blowing in across the Great Lakes, and we might see a few wisps of those high clouds, but it's basically clear from Maine all the way down into Georgia. And again, it's a day where we're going to see temperatures up into the 80s. We will have a good deal of sunshine all day long, and the humidity is going to be a little bit higher than it was yesterday, but overall it really is relatively subdued. So let's take a look at the week ahead, which really looks very quiet. We've got two cold fronts coming, one on Monday and one on Thursday. The one for Monday might have a few showers with it late in the afternoon and evening. They should be scattered in nature and no big deal. And the one on Thursday that comes through looks to be dry, and the air masses that follow are dry, and temperatures with them are about where they're supposed to be for this time of year. So nothing too cool, nothing too warm, just about where it's supposed to be for late September. High temperatures today, you see middle and upper 80s. It will be a little bit cooler at the shore. For Monday rather, we're looking at also middle to upper 80s, and again, that chance for some showers. Moving on to Tuesday, this is where we're behind the front, so it's going to be a little cooler. Highs mostly in the low to mid 70s from northeast Virginia to southern New England, maybe a little bit warmer down in the Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. And then on Wednesday, we're looking at temperatures mostly in the 70s. Thursday, we'll be back up ahead of the next cold front with temperatures reaching up into the upper 70s to maybe some middle 80s in the warm spots as you go south. And then that front goes by and we cool off a little bit back to the 70s to around 80 on Friday. So here's our surface map going forward. The front for tomorrow, let me just move this out of the way so you can also see Tropical Storm Jerry down on the lower right. That's going to go to Bermuda. So the first front moves on through here tomorrow evening. Here's your next high that's going to build in, and that comes into the coast for Tuesday and Wednesday. Jerry moves out, passes close to Bermuda and moves out. Here is the second front for Thursday, which is kind of like the first one, just maybe a little bit weaker. A few showers up in parts of New England, and that's about it. And then that front moves out, and another high builds in for Friday into next weekend. And then it looks like we may start to warm up again next weekend with high pressure settling down along the mid-Atlantic coast. The pattern overall is really a very, very quiet one, and one that is going to last for a little while longer, and really one that's typical of this time of year. All right, let's look at the tropics really quick, because we have a new tropical storm and Tropical Storm Karen, and that formed overnight in the southeast Caribbean, or coming into the southeast Caribbean, and you can see on this particular loop Karen on the lower right, and then north of Karen, north of Puerto Rico, is Tropical Storm Jerry, which looks pretty disorganized. And Jerry's been impacted by these strong winds in the upper atmosphere. If you notice on the loop, the clouds that are from the Florida Straits across the Bahamas and out to the northeast from there, those are strong upper air winds. That's actually a trough that's left over from Umberto, believe it or not. Well, that has been impacting Jerry. And at the same time, you'll notice that the clouds in the Caribbean are blowing from northeast to southwest. So Karen is being impacted by northeasterly shear that's coming down in the upper air east of Jerry and then running into the northeast Caribbean. So both of these systems are going to have a tough time fighting these upper air winds, at least for the time being. Now, the outlook for Jerry pretty much remains unchanged. The only thing that has changed a little is the fact that the Hurricane Center is just leaving it as a tropical storm through the forecast period, moving it northwest or northwest into Tuesday morning, and then turning it northeast, passing close to or just to the northwest of Bermuda. It's a weaker system here, so it's not forecast to strengthen back into a hurricane. That doesn't mean it can't strengthen back if conditions get a little more favorable as it moves further to the north, and we get a little bit of energy from that cold front that's moving off the east coast. But the bottom line is this is going to be a far less of a storm impacting Bermuda than Umberto was. Now, as far as Karen is concerned, Jerry's going to draw it up northward. So that means that we'll probably see tropical storm warnings, which are currently up for the southern Windward Islands, to go up at some point, maybe later today or this evening, for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, because that's where this one is headed. And you see on the tight view, it's pretty disorganized with the clouds getting blown away from the northeast. But there is a circulation there, and they did have reports of winds in excess of tropical storm force. And the Hurricane Center did what they did this morning in upgrading this to a tropical storm. Now, in the longer term, it's going to turn northward. Once it gets north of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, two things are going to happen. Jerry is going to be pulling away, and there is going to be an upper high that is going to build in the Atlantic off the southeast coast. And if it escapes the trough of Jerry, and I think there's a fair chance that it will, we could see Karen actually take a track and bend back toward the west. Not all the weather models are showing this, but enough of them are showing it, plus the idea of what's going to be going on aloft off the southeast coast of the United States. And with the change of the upper pattern that's happening out in the Atlantic, I think this is a possibility. So that's something that we're going to pay attention to later on this coming week. So weather in 5 kind of went a little long today because of the 2 tropical storms. But other than that, you've got a great rest of your day and a week ahead that looks pretty quiet and pretty nice for the most part from Northeast Virginia on up into southern New England. All right, once again, let me just remind you, if you've got the app, if you downloaded my free weather app and have been using it, thank you very much. There's an update that's been pushed through. The Google update was pushed through a few weeks ago. We were waiting for the iPhone update. That pushed through yesterday. So I'm just telling both users in general, whichever device you have, on whichever platform you have, make sure you have the updated version. It will default to your local to your location as far as your local forecast and current conditions are concerned. You don't have to put it in every single time you go in. And there's a Long Island tab for those of you interested in Long Island weather. And that's in addition to the New Jersey tab and everything else that's on there. All right. So have a great day. Enjoy your day. We're going to have a Weather in 10 for Patreon members coming up a little later this morning. And also, we'll try and do a live stream tonight on my YouTube channel. And that will be at, I'm going to say it's after football. So let's do it. Let's aim for 8 or 9 o'clock Eastern time.